and what a day it's been so far, but it's only hotting up because a university professor who was cancelled by his own students has announced the creation of a faculty for common sense. That's right. Eric Kaufmann was the head of politics at Birkbeck, University of London. He's now creating a centre of heterodox social science, it's more interesting than it sounds, at the University of Buckingham, which will investigate woke attitudes and controversial subjects such as trans rights and critical race theory. Now, this comes hot off the back of Kemi Badenoch speaking right here at the Conservative Party conference, saying that the Tories are the only party on the side of common sense. And if Labour MPs won't tell us what a woman is, then what else aren't they telling us? Well, it's interesting, isn't it? The culture wars, for a long time, was laughed at, scorned, saying, oh, it's the only thing the Tories have got is the culture wars. Well, now we're starting to see some other things as well, like a row back on net zero, etc. But actually, it is an important issue, isn't it? Do you not think it's an important issue for you, for the way that your children are brought up, for the attitudes and societal norms that you have? And the Conservatives, Kemi Badenoch in particular, being very strong on that today. LGBT Conservatives board member and GBNews contributor, fan favourite, the wonderful Albie Amankona, joins me now. Do you think that the Conservatives are winning the culture wars? And if so, why?
Well, first of all, I know Eric Kaufmann quite well, and I think what he's doing at the University of Buckingham is a very exciting venture for him. I do think we need more common sense in society, and when we listen to brilliant Tory MPs and ministers like Kemi Badenoch, or even people on the back benches like Priti Patel, I do certainly think they're speaking in a language which is much more similar to the average voter than we hear from Keir Starmer's Labour Party, where they're talking about all of these lofty ideas, but they don't really have much bark in their
What
bite.
is the culture wars? OK, so what is it? Is it as simple as there's an aggressive militant group of hyper-woke individuals who want to shut everything else down? I mean, what are they fighting against?
Look, what I like about Kemi Badenoch is she's a rational voice. I actually think that both the woke and anti-woke side of the culture war can actually be equally as bad as each other. They both want to cancel each other. They don't want to listen to each other. They don't actually want to find solutions. They just want to have a fight. Yeah. Whereas Kemi Badenoch, she wants to find solutions. She wants to find a way forwards. And that's why I think the Conservatives are winning the culture war.
OK, now this is fascinating because we also had reports of, I don't think you've gone public with this or anyone's really gone public with this so far, so this is potentially a bit of an exclusive for us, about something that happened last night, am I right?
Yes.
I'm going to throw it over to you because it ties in, OK, I think, between, an aggressive culture war and potential cancel culture, but playing out in real life. Go on.
Well, this is what I mean when I say it happens from both sides. So, as he's mentioned, I'm on the board of the LGBT Conservatives. I'm the vice chairman for Outreach, and I was having a conversation with one of our members earlier on at our stand-up conference just down from here, who was telling me about how he and a bunch of gay Conservatives went to a gay bar in Manchester, I believe it was called the New Union Bar, and there was a drag act which was on that was making lots of rude and derogatory comments about Conservatives and about Suella Braverman and making them feel very uncomfortable in this venue, and apparently some of the other patrons in the venue were being quite aggressive and rude and unkind towards them, and then they decided that they were going to stay and have their drinks even though they were getting all of this abuse hurled at them. And then about half an hour later, out of absolutely nowhere, 4 security guards walked up to them and physically threw them out of the bar. Physically manhandled them and threw them out of this bar. I just think that's absolutely appalling that these places, they say they want diversity, but not diversity of thought, and they're chucking people out just for being Conservatives. It's terrible.
I mean, that is absolutely staggering, seriously. I mean, this just should not be happening in this country, really, where if you happen to have the Conservative ideology and way of thinking, that you will end up being kicked out of a bar of your choice, but that appears to have happened.
I mean, it's appalling. I mean, if you actually look at the Conservatives' record on LGBT issues since 2010, we are the party that brought in same-sex marriage. We are the party that brought in LGBT relationship and sex education in schools. We are the party that's going to end HIV transmissions by 2030, and yet our party members who have been fighting for those causes are being thrown out of places where they want to spend their money just for their political beliefs.
This is why it's important, isn't it? This is why people like Kemi Badenoch and talking up whether it is, I say what a woman is, or whether it's about people, not pigeonholing people, this kind of, cancel culture, issue that appears to exist, you know, the kind of woke mind virus, whatever Elon Musk would call it, and, you know, all the culture wars. This is why it's so important, because it appears that right now, in this country, at this conference, we have had a group of gay conservatives who have been forcefully evicted from an event just for their beliefs.
Precisely. They didn't do anything wrong in the situation. They just wanted to be ordinary paying customers, enjoying a night out on the town in Manchester, and they had their night completely ruined just because of their political beliefs. If this was any other group, Patrick, people would be crying from the rafters.
Can I ask you, forgive me for asking this, so it's just popped into my mind really, but, you know, as a gay man and also somebody who's an ethnic minority as well, do you feel more under threat for being a conservative than you do for any of those things?
Well, I don't tend to feel that under threat by things in general, Patrick. I'm quite thick-skinned. But I think certainly there is a real viciousness that people have towards minorities that don't fit the mould, and towards minorities whether or not you are gay, black, or from a different kind of religion who is not from the liberal left.
Yeah.
If you don't agree with that dogma of wokeism, you are cast aside and seen as a stowaway. And I feel at home here at the Conservative Party conference. I'm here with my people, and I think it is such a shame that our members of the party and of the LGBT Conservatives have been treated this way.
Yeah, Albie, look, thank you very much, and thank you for coming on and highlighting that very real issue, because that is exactly what we're talking about cancel culture and about all of that stuff in action there. So, Albie Amankona, wonderful.